So what would be your commander of choice if you play CDH, or if you already do play CDH, what is your commander of choice? Welcome to MTG Tuesdays tips and tricks, and we're continuing on our series about how to get into CDH, playing CDH, tips and tricks that I've learned. Again, I am just starting to get into CDH and doing more CDH content, so I've been in it since this last summer, so I'm getting more and more into it, getting more excited about it. We competed in a couple tournaments now, so I'm understanding some things. Again, I don't know everything. I'm still learning because, there's a lot to learn, there's a lot to go on, but I want to get more people to play it. I want more people to play CDH because people to play, the more people understand it. It's got a bad rap for a long time because people just misunderstand what CDH really is. I had conversations at SCGCon this last weekend with people about CDH, and you would mention CDH and someone snarled up their nose like, CDH, but then I began to talk to them like, well, can I talk to you a little bit about CDH and what we mean by CDH? And a lot of times once we start having that conversation, like, oh, I guess it isn't as bad as I thought it was. And I'm like, yeah, I think there's a bad stigma about it. And so in CDH, one of the most important things you do kind of is choose your commander. Again, CDH, realistically, when you're playing CDH, there's a pool of about 300-ish cards, maybe a few less, maybe a few more, that you're pulling from to use for your decks. There are a lot of commanders you will not use or see used in CDH. And again, there's a difference of like fringe commanders, so commanders that aren't going to be your like top tier and seeing lots of play, but they'll still be in there and people will play them. They'll be okay. They'll do all right. So I have a Cole the Forge Master deck. It's a Boros deck, and he was a little bit higher up until a ban happened, and then it kind of dropped. A lot of people playing him because it kind of hurt, but I still have him as a CDH deck. I can still play him. He is definitely not my strongest CDH deck. He's not my fastest. He's going to do his thing, but it's definitely not like I pull it out for fun when I want to play something a little bit different. But there's a wide variety. You want to figure out, what is my playstyle? What do I like to enjoy? Do I like complete like control and controlling the board until I can get my win? Do I want to try to go as fast as possible? Do I kind of want to, make the board miserable and kind of stack them out till I can win? Figuring out your kind of different type of play style, because then that can basically let you pick what commander you do and what stuff like that. So like there's a lot of top tier commanders out there. You're going to see a lot of people playing Kinnan. You're going to see a lot of people playing Rograk. And Silas, we call it Rogsai. You're going to see people playing Timna and Crom. There's Timna is played in multiple different ways. You've got Malcolm, the Pirate. There is a wide variety of decks that you can play and commanders you can play. And as new commanders come out, some people try to figure out, is this viable for CDH? Typically, there's something that costs a lot of mana. A commander that costs a ton of mana usually isn't going to see a lot of play as much. So one exception to this would be Crick, because you can pay life to get it in, and you can get it in pretty quickly. Again, Jeweled Lotus being banned did hurt the card. Mana Crypt being banned did hurt the card a little bit too, but it still definitely sees play. You've got different cards like that, like monocolored commanders that cost a lot. It's a lot harder to get them out. I know right now, like there's people running like Lumra and stuff, so people try to get these different decks out. They try to run them and figure it out, and kind of not, like I said, not every commander is going to be CDH viable. And a lot of certain color pairs are not going to be as good as other color pairs. Because obviously, if you can run blue is your strong one, the strongest color pairs run, because you have access to all of the different counter spells, free counter spells, ways to stop people. But that doesn't mean other things don't have counter spells and ways to stop stuff. You just gotta think about that when you're building it. If you're not going to build a deck that has blue, you have to think about your strategy and figure out, okay, I don't have as many counter spells or medicine, but what can I do that'll then stop people from stopping my combos and stuff like that? Because it's going to happen in CDH. So you really want to look up and just you can go Google search and look up top CDH commanders or CDH commanders and look at them. And a lot of people will build and write basically write-ups about the commander and how to play it and what you're looking for and stuff like that. And again, certain commanders you can run multiple ways. So like Kinnan, which is one of my decks that I run pretty frequently, there are two versions. There's more of a mid-range version, so in that version you're kind of controlling the board, kind of slowing people down until you can get your combo and go off and win. And then there's like a turbo kitting, which is like I jam as much stuff out as possible and as quick as possible, and I go for the win as quick as possible. Rogsai is like that. My newest commander, Hashiton, is kind of in a middle. You can go fast if you get the right cards. You can win fast, but you can also kind of grind the game out and then try to get to where you can hit your spot when everyone else can't, and then hit your combo. If you're looking for certain kind of combos and stuff like that, you can build that. But find your commander. You pick something that speaks to you in your playstyle, but also make sure it is a CEDH viable commander. Don't just be like, oh, I'm going to bring this commander to the table, and it's just not one that's going to be CEDH viable. A lot of decks, and that's also it's like in certain colors, it's like Esper is really strong. So there are a lot of different combinations of Esper commanders you can use. There's monocolor commanders, whatever. Just go through a list, look at it, and be like, CEDH commanders, pick them out, look at them, read the different deck lists. Maybe you've got some more cards, maybe you don't. I could break it down more. I don't know all the metas and all the commanders and like the ones that you probably should avoid and shouldn't avoid, but you want something that's fairly strong if you're just getting in. You don't want a fringe when you're just getting in, because unless you've already got all the cards for the fringe, then come on in. But the problem with the fringes is they're not as strong usually, so they will still get their wins, they will still do their thing. But the reason they're a fringe CEDH commander is either they haven't been figured out yet, they're not as strong, maybe some things that put them off, so they're not as fast as they used to be because of bans or whatever. But you can always do that, always find. Have fun. CEDH is a lot of fun. Find that commander, start building it, and look, you're like, oh, can't afford all the cards for it. Trust me, most of us can't afford all the cards for it. So we use what we call proxies, especially if we're building new decks or trying new decks, because you don't want to spend all that money on a deck to then find out you just don't like it and it's not a deck you want to play. So definitely make sure you're very careful when you're building your deck. Don't just go straight all in and just buy all the cards. Be like, test it out. Make sure it's your play, so make sure it fits you. But if you have more questions about CEDH, definitely put them in the comments below. We'll talk more about CEDH and definitely gameplay and stuff like that as we talk about it. But thank you guys so much for being here. As always, we'll see you next time.